everyone, welcome! My name's Charlie, and today I'm going to be playing some more Stardew Valley. If you haven't already seen the first two videos of this series, you should definitely go check them out. This time around, instead of just playing 300 days, I played for an entire in-game year. I'm gonna pretend I did this on purpose, but it's actually because my brain is very smooth and numbers are hard. Like, actually, how do you mess up a spreadsheet this bad? Why am I so dumb? I figure it works out okay though, because for me, the final frontier is achieving true perfection in the game, and I doubt that'll take me 400 days. Alright, as always, I started out with some goals in mind. I wanted to get the Iridium Krobus statue, have a child with Krobus, reach floor 100 of Skull Caverns, complete the museum, catch all the fish, and most importantly, win the egg hunt, cause oh my god, it's been 2 years and it hurts. It really hurts. As a personal goal, I also wanted to get to full hearts with all the villagers, cause I'd never done that before and it's required to achieve perfection. Alright, let's get right into it. If you remember from my 200 days video, my jam empire is the pride and joy of my farm. I knew that I'd be needing a lot of money, so of course, the first thing I did was make some jam. I spent most of the afternoon giving people gifts, and then I headed to the Adventurers Guild. I really wanted to finish all the Monster Hunter quests, and the ones I had left were for the Void Spirits and the Mummies, so I headed into the mine and started to kill Void Spirits. The next morning, I fed my chickens and assessed the friendship situation, and I'm gonna be honest, it was not looking good, so I continued giving gifts that afternoon and returned to the mines to kill more Void Spirits. On day 203, I absolutely swept the fish... I swept the fishing competition. To celebrate my victory, I added some pathways to Jam City and my farm. When I visited Elliot the next day, we hung out and talked about literature. Then I purchased an auto petter because I was tired of caring for my animals, and I continued to murder spirits. Bright and early on day 205, I brought everyone some gifts and then upgraded my house, because in order to have children, it was necessary to get the second upgrade. Then I bought a star drop from the sewers, and I found a gorilla. At this point, I wanted to get started on catching all the fish, so I went to level 20 of the mines to hunt down the stonefish, but I didn't end up catching it, and the next day was mostly spent searching for artifacts. It's only been 5 days of giving gifts, and I'm so tired of it. I just feel like a great value Santa Claus. Good morning, a very special good morning to you. Hello, Louis. Oh my god, sorry about that. I started stashing gifts away in people's houses for convenience, and then I went to Skull Caverns to gather more Omni Geodes. I was hoping that if I could just buy a bunch of artifact troves, I'd be able to get the ones that I had left and finish the museum fairly quickly. By day 208, my house was finished and I was ready to have a child. Hold on, the upgrade actually messed up some of my decor. Let me just move that around real quick, put the calendar away. Alright, now I'm ready to have a child. Although I fished for the rest of the day, I still hadn't encountered the stonefish. Here you go, Toxie Totten, my guy. I accepted a quest from Mr. Chi to gather 4 prismatic shards, which meant I'd have to do a lot of mining in Skull Caverns. Before I could work on that though, I needed to head to the night market and catch all the special fish from the submarine. Free coffee. Why am I even excited about that? I literally have like 100 cups right now. So basically, there are a couple fish you can only catch in the submarine, which are the midnight squid, the spookfish, and the blobfish. I got the squid and the spookfish, but I still hadn't gotten the blobfish, so I'd have to try again tomorrow. The next morning, I decided that starfruit required a little too much effort, so I started converting the greenhouse entirely to ancient fruit. I ended up catching the stonefish in the afternoon, and I tried to get the ice pip on floor 60, but it was really difficult. I had to remove myself from the situation because I was getting a bit too frustrated. I did end up catching the blobfish that night though, so it felt less bad. On day 212, I collected some wood and then upgraded my chicken coop because emotionally ignoring them was not enough. I wanted to install an auto feeder and just pretend they didn't exist. I was making some decent headway with befriending the villagers, and I also caught a squid, a midnight carp, and a void salmon, so it was a pretty productive day. The next morning, I tended to my jam empire, and then... honestly, I think I got drugged by Emily. I caught myself a stingray, started stocking ingredients for recipes, and then I put some sea urchins in my fish tanks. I have big plans for you. Or like small plans, small hat-shaped plans for your small heads. That night, I made almost $115,000 from my jam empire, so some pretty decent profits. I walked into the sewer the next day and found out my husband, joined a fight club or something? I don't know. After catching the slime jack, I walked down to the beach and saw Krobus just vibing on the dock. He's so cute! Look at his little feet! Oh my god! Oh my, what is that? What the heck? Wait, is he cheating on me? What? Although my home life was becoming troubled, I distracted myself by giving gifts and mining in Skull Caverns for the next couple days, and I even got a slime egg from one of the chest rooms. On day 218, I stood outside of Leah's house for 3 hours until I could get inside to give her salad. After, I finished the last quest for Master Oogway and got some more nuts. Day 219 was more of the same. I gave gifts and then grinded in Skull Caverns for prismatic shards. Sir, I'm sorry, but your job is already done. I am Santa now. By Christmas morning, my whole greenhouse was filled with ancient fruit, so I headed to town and gave Penny an emerald for her Secret Santa gift. Pierre! That's not too bad. A jade! Thank you, that's such a thoughtful gift. After spending the entire next day fishing, I finally caught the ice pip and set up some crab pots on the beach. On day 222, Gus sent me a fridge in the mail, which, how? I also dropped off the 4 prismatic shards for Mr. Chi, getting me a bunch of Chi gems. At this point, I'd caught a fair amount of fish, but I still had a bunch left to get. More importantly though, look at my sea urchins, they have little hats on, this is the best. Before heading to bed, I added some more pathing to the farm and plotted an area for my obelisks. The next day, I bought a cow which I named Trash. Yep. And then opened a ton of artifact troves. I actually entirely forgot about the 3-year review, but when I went to sleep that night, good old Grampy came for a visit. Oh god, I'm gonna get roasted, aren't I? To my surprise, I actually ended up getting all 4 candles, so I was pretty stoked about that. By the first day of spring, I was really good friends with Emily, so she invited me to her clothing therapy event. Basically, everyone just puts on clothes that speak to them and help them express themselves and be happy and stuff. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I don't know what this is. I was not too pleased to see that Abigail was there, but it actually ended up being a very good thing. Ooh, edgy. I like it. I like it. Oh, God. She doesn't come out in like a trash can or something. I'm gonna be mad. What is that? What on earth? Eric Baroni. What? Afterward, I gathered a bunch of seeds and planted them on Ginger Island. I also bought the horse flute from Mr. Chi, which meant that I could summon my horse. That's so sick. On day 225, I decided to clear out the quarry, smelt some more copper and iron, and craft some more kegs to make ancient fruit wine. Early the next morning, I attended George's monthly checkup. I don't really know why, I don't think we're close enough for that, but it's okay. And then continued to add kegs to Jam City. At this point, I was ready to buy my first real obelisk, but I realized I was missing 1 dragon tooth, so I headed into the volcano mines and started to hunt down these lava lurks, but didn't end up finding any teeth. I still hadn't gotten any dragon teeth on day 228, but I did find this deluxe pirate hat, which was just as good. For the 3rd day in a row, I headed to the volcano mines, and I got a tooth before even going in, so I took a quick Yui and purchased the island obelisk. Now I could travel to and from the island way easier, so for the rest of the night I continued to plant crops and moved all my seed makers, and that night as I went to bed... Yes! Oh my god, yes! Oh my god. Krobus and I would be adopting our first child, and I was ecstatic, but it would still be a little while until he would officially move into the house. The next day, I, of course, started out by giving everyone a bunch of gifts. Then I bought an auto petter for my barn so I could neglect those animals too, and bought some cute mushroom wallpaper for the nursery. Everyone in town was really starting to warm up to me, and early the next morning, Jody invited me to dinner, except she asked me to bring a fish. So like, come over to my house for dinner, but also you bring the food. BYOLMB, bring your own largemouth bass. Before heading over to Jody's, I brought Caroline a gift, and I'm pretty sure she drugged me as well, because I have absolutely no clue what's going on here. It was a pretty nice dinner though, and I was just happy to be invited to things. It made me feel like a part of the community. I continued to buy tons of artifact troves, but I still didn't get anything new, so I ran around giving gifts instead. I started off the next morning by watching Queen of Sauce, and then decided that I wanted to make some ostrich mayonnaise. Afterward, I headed to the desert and tried to catch the scorpion carp, which was by far the most difficult fish yet. It was so bad. Like, worse than any of the legendary fish for sure. It made me so sad that I decided to just catch fish in the ocean instead. Also, I was very shocked to discover that the ostrich egg doesn't make ostrich mayonnaise, it makes 10 regular mayonnaise, which I guess it makes sense because, like, big egg is many mayo and small egg is not many. I don't really know. For the rest of the day, I basically stockpiled ingredients and then cut down all the trees on my farm for wood. On day 235, I nearly had a heart attack when I checked the mail. It was the 12th day of spring, which meant that the egg festival was tomorrow. I was actually legitimately anxious, so I tried to ease my anxiety by fishing. It ended up making me more stressed though, so I just killed things in Skull Cavern for the rest of the day. Day 236, the day of the egg festival. Would I lose to Abigail for the 3rd year in a row, or would I be able to get enough eggs to finally win? Okay, remember your training, remember your training. Egg behind here. Go around. Egg here. Run. Oh my god, I'm so behind. Mara's already up here. Oh my god. Egg behind the house. No! Okay. Egg. Around, around. Run, Charlie, run. Egg. Oh my god, I'm getting stuck on everything! Don't look at Vincent, don't look at Vincent, it's not funny. Egg. Okay, I'm going this way. Egg. Okay, I can get one more, I can get one more! 12 eggs! I wanted to create a monument to commemorate my victory, so for the next day I engraved the words, "Suck it, Abigail," into my farm permanently. After, I harvested some of my island crops, and I also accepted a Mr. Chi quest to give 50 loved gifts in a week, because that was pretty much what I did every week, so I might as well get paid for it, you know? And so, for the next couple days, I pretty much exclusively brought people gifts, and my hearts continued to go up pretty steadily. In fact, I became good enough friends with Willie for him to show me this, which... yeah, I don't know either, really. I decided that I wanted to organize my island crops a bit more, so I crafted some iridium sprinklers and started planting my seeds in rows organized by season. Then I did some mining in Skull Caverns and continued to fail at catching the scorpion carp for another day. To cheer myself up, I purchased 2 of these mushroom seeds, which I planted here and here. I don't know why, I just thought they might spice things up a bit. As I went to bed on day 243, our child was delivered to our home. Welcome to the world, Oog! Yes, his name is Oog. I don't think there's much I can do with him yet, so I just stood next to his crib staring at him for a while. Then I bought another fish pond and upgraded to an iridium axe. Alright, I have 4 fish left to catch at this point, and instead of trying to catch any of them, I bought an auto grabber for my barn and this terrifying painting which I hung up in Oog's bedroom. It's character building, it's okay, he'll be fine, he'll be fine. On day 245, I accepted a quest to acquire prismatic jelly, sending me back into the mines. The island farm was growing pretty well, so I harvested my jam and wine and then continued to stockpile ingredients. I'm not sure how, but Yova's blessed this house with a child. Why is child in air quotes? Actually, no, I agree. He's more like a pet rock at this point. Day 247 was the day of the flower dance, and unlike last year and the year before, Elliot actually wanted to dance with me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Everyone's wearing these nice dresses and I'm just wearing this. Like, look at me, I'm so bad. No wonder they put me in the corner. Oh my god. The next day, I reset the elevator again and did some mining to try and find radioactive ore. I needed to make some more magic fish bait because it allows you to catch fish that are out of season. I ended up making it to floor 35 and finding the prismatic jelly I needed to give the wizard. After collecting my iridium axe, I also decided to upgrade to a steel hoe. I wanted all my stuff to be iridium, mostly for the fact that it makes me look cool and I have way too much money. For the next 3 days, I mined all day long and eventually made it to the bottom of the mines, earning 50 chi gems. I also got a pressure nozzle for my sprinklers as a mob drop. I picked up my steel hoe the next day and upgraded my trash can to steel as well. Even my trash can is gonna be iridium. While I was running around giving gifts, I got to say hi to Abigail. Hello, Abigail. Place this, stay right there. What? How does that not affect you? Why are you talking about your guinea pig? I just blew you up. Okay, I'm upping the power. By this time, my island crops were beginning to grow and all my ancient fruit in the greenhouse was fully grown. I added some signs on the island and continued to add sprinklers for more crops. I also planted some grapes next to my hops and bought the recipe for the magic bait. I wanted to get an auto feeder for the barn as well, so the next day I purchased the upgrade for the big barn. At this point, I had all the minerals, so the only things I needed to donate to the museum were the 2 strange dolls and the skeleton hand. I had no clue where to get the dolls, but I knew the hand was most likely to be obtained from an artifact spot in this area, so I started to walk through here every day. The next day, I harvested and planted crops on my island farm, got my trash can and upgraded to a golden hoe, and started working on my tree farm again. When I woke up the next morning, I saw that Oog was actually doing stuff. Oh my god! Why does he go so high? Wait a minute. I just yeeted him out of existence. I also got invited to Sam's concert in Zuzu City that afternoon, so I gave out a bunch of gifts and headed to the bus stop. It was actually a pretty good concert, and when I got back that night, I just kinda vibed with Shane on the dock. I decided to finally try and get the scorpion carp again, and after another whole day of fishing, I finally got it. Yes! Thank you! Now I only had to get the walleye, and then I'll have caught every single fish. The next day, I added more kegs to the quarry and collected all my jam and wine, raking in a bunch of dollars. On day 258, Leo decided to move to the valley, which was pretty cool. Like, I had no idea that could happen. So weird, stuff happens when you talk to the villagers. Who even knew? God. Also, Robin gave me the recipe for flute blocks, which meant I could do the mermaid puzzle on Ginger Island. I continued to give people gifts, planted some green tea on the island, and collected a bunch of batteries. I also started growing these weird chi fruits for a quest, and they're kinda cursed. Like, I can't tell if I love them or I'm terrified of them. As is tradition, I put fruit I picked up off the ground into the luau soup. Then I decided to start working on the quests that you're given in like the first year, starting off by giving Gus an albacore. I was getting kinda desperate, so I started mining at the bone quarry in the hopes of finding the skeleton hand, but I still had no luck. With that plan foiled, I returned to Skull Caverns to grind for artifact troves and then continued to give gifts and plant chi beans. At this point, I was getting lots of hearts with all the villagers and walking into cutscenes pretty much constantly. I thought this one was actually pretty funny, and as a biology major, I just had to defend my boy Demetrius in saying that a tomato is a fruit. And like, these classifications are so arbitrary and confusing. Like, you know what a banana is? 'Cause it's a fruit, but it's technically classified as a berry, and so is an avocado. And then strawberries are not a berry. And cucumbers are also fruits, but they're classified as peepos, and it's like a whole different thing. Like, melons are also a peepo. And what's even worse than that is that walnuts and pecans are also technically classified as fruits. Classifying fruits and vegetables is so stupid, and I don't agree with it. Anyway, so I opened all my artifact troves and didn't get anything good, and then I pushed Haley off a cow and bought the desert obelisk. For the entirety of day 268, I completed a bunch of quests for the villagers, bringing Marnie amaranth, Jody a cauliflower, and this bear some maple syrup? I don't even know anymore. The next day, it was raining on Ginger Island, so I tackled the mermaid puzzle and earned 5 nuts. I also caught this Master Oogway statue on accident and decided to put it on the farm. Then, I fixed up the fences on my farm and grinded for more artifact troves. On day 271, I spent the whole day finishing up my tree farm, complete with nice pathing to prevent seeds from growing, cause that's just annoying. Early the next morning, I finally bought the deluxe barn upgrade, meaning I could now ignore all my animals instead of just my chickens. After, I traded my jade for staircases and started to collect a bunch of stone to make more so I could get to the bottom of Skull Caverns. Oog is crawling! I was getting close to full hearts with all the villagers, and I did a lot of gift giving this day. I also set up these signs. Not really sure why, just cuz. I started the broken elevator quest again, and then purchased the key to the town and an aquatic sanctuary, which meant I could put all my legendary fish and my urchins in one tank. I also realized that if I checked Grandpa's shrine, I could get this statue of perfection, and then I just went and grinded for more radioactive ore. Why do you do this? For the next couple days, I mined constantly, completing the quest for the second time now and collecting a bunch of good materials, including this strange doll that I'd never gotten before. I even finished in time to buy some decor for Oog's room and then stare blankly at the jellyfish for another year. The next day, I crafted a bunch of cheesemakers for in front of the barn, opened more artifact troves, and planted fall seeds on the island farm. No hands. I played Dungeons & Dragons with Sebastian and Sam, getting an A by the way, and then continued to lament the fact that I could not find the skeleton hand. I got desperate again and started mining the bone quarry, but still couldn't find it. Instead, I purchased Pierre's stock list and then got a couple more fruit trees to plant in the greenhouse. On day 283, I tended to my fish ponds and then shifted my Rarecrow shrine over and fixed the pathing on my farm. I went to Skull Cavern on day 284 just to collect some stone, but I ended up using all my staircases and reached floor 100 pretty easily. It had been a while since I started my island farm, and it was really looking good, so I decided to focus my efforts towards finishing Jam City and filling the entire quarry with kegs and jars. I also bought another fish pond, opened more useless artifact troves, and then just went ham with the animals. Alright, let me introduce you. So we got Long, the cow, and then we got Shake, Chilbert, Zungus, and Zongus. And yes, those were all auto-generated by the way, which I think is hilarious. I continued to give gifts and mine for Omni Geodes, and then decided to work on my farm a bit. I felt like the Suckit Abigail could be turned into a nice little garden area with pretty pathing and stuff, so I started planning it out and planted some hardwood trees on the corners. When I went to sleep that night, Krobus and I decided to have a second child. Oh my god! Yes! It was getting really annoying to bring my lava eel and blobfish roe to Jam City, so I set up some preserve jars right above the ponds to make it a bit easier. Also, I had intended on regrowing my Oog on the island farm, but it was pointed out to me that the pineapples now clearly spelled out poo, and I felt like I just couldn't get rid of it, you know? Like, the pineapples choose what they want to say. Because it was raining the next day, I was finally able to catch a walleye, completing the Master Angler achievement. I bought this bookcase to celebrate, and I was surprised to receive a star drop from Willie the next morning. Now that I'd caught every fish, I could turn my attention to collecting materials and filling in the rest of the quarry, as well as buying the last fish pond. While I was working on the farm, I decided that the Suckit Abigail was a bit too muted, so I crafted some crystal walkways and replaced it all. Now it really pops, you know? It's more of a statement, which is exactly what I wanted. Like, you can't miss this. I also decided to start on my journey to cook every recipe. I'd already collected a lot of the materials, so it was just a matter of retrieving the right ingredients and cooking everything. For this reason, I also planted some beans on my island farm because I needed 2 of them to cook bean hot pot. The next day was the Stardew Valley Fair, and using my first prize winnings, I bought this nice rug for the study. By day 296, I finally had enough money to purchase the final obelisk, so I started to work on getting the Iridium Krobus statue. In order to do this, I need to get a couple more chi gems and buy the chi seasoning. Then I could cook some seafoam pudding, which would give me the additional 5 fishing levels that I needed to get the statue. The problem though was that I had accidentally already cooked the seafoam pudding a couple days ago because I didn't realize you couldn't add the seasoning after. That meant that I now had to catch another flounder and another midnight carp. I fished for a while in the ocean but didn't get a flounder, so I put all the extra fish in my tanks at home and returned to the mines. One of my friends told me that if you hoe the dirt in the mines, you can get strange dolls, and I was kind of skeptical, but I wanted to try it out. Huh. I was pretty ecstatic, and I even got a midnight carp on my way home. Then I caught a flounder and made my seafoam pudding, allowing me to get the iridium crobus. To celebrate, I bought myself a slime hutch, which I don't even know what it does, but I'm just so rich at this point that I don't care. The next morning, I cooked some more recipes and collected my first truffles, and for the rest of the day, I mined in skull caverns to get omni geodes. Excuse me, it is so late, go to bed. Wait, he's kinda creepy, never mind, do whatever you want. Still no luck with the artifact troves or finding any worms, so I just finished up the pathing in Jam City. On day 301, my slime hutch had finished, so I put one of my eggs into the incubator and added a nice pathway leading to the bottom of the farm. I also purchased the catalog from Pierre's, so for most of the day I tested out all the wallpapers and floors until I'd found the ones that I liked. The house looks so nice now. I finished up the day by putting speed grow on my beans and harvesting my tea. At this point, I had full hearts with every villager except Jas, Pierre, and Caroline. The next morning, I got the last heart for Jas and continued to collect omni geodes. Still no hands in the bone quarry, so I harvested my jam. That night, we got our second child, which we decided to name Uga. For some reason, I was under the impression that the slimes in the hutch would, not attack you, but clearly I was wrong. What is the point of this thing? Why do I need this? The next day, I thought I was being super smart, and that maybe if I killed one of the skeleton heads, I could get the hand, but no, it didn't work. Instead, I decided to accept the infested skull cavern quest for Mr. Chi, and it was kinda nuts. The snakes were, long. Also, I got 2 galaxy souls from this slime, so first thing the next day, I went to the volcano and turned my galaxy sword into the infinity blade. I still hadn't given up on my skull idea, so I put on Monster Musk and headed back into the quarry cave, and to my surprise, I actually got it. I was so happy, and I decided that before going to the Spirits Eve festival, I'd visit Jam City and celebrate. Oh my god! Oh my god! What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh no. Oh my god, I can quit? Should I just quit? No, I can't because I just got the artifact. Oh my god, I just gotta let it happen. Oh my god. Oh, my jars are gone! I don't want to be alive anymore. I donated the final artifact the next morning, and it didn't feel nearly as good. I got a star drop, which was fine. I also finished the skeleton, which has been incomplete since, the first video, so that's good, I guess. I just feel so empty. Drink the pain away. Tempting, but no. I actually calculated my losses, and in total I'm pretty sure I lost 8 kegs and 32 preserving jars. This adds up to a loss of 1,840 pieces of wood, 1,280 pieces of stone, and 256 pieces of coal. So in conclusion, I am not very pleased. Well, on the bright side, I got Pierre to 8 hearts that morning, so I only had Caroline left. I had absolutely no wood left on my farm, so I had to deforest the entire town to make more jars. For the rest of the night, I caught more fish for recipes. On day 308, I got the last heart for Caroline. After over 100 days of constantly giving people gifts, I'd finally gotten full hearts for every single villager, and although the loss of Jam City was upsetting, this made me really happy. However, there was one last thing I had to do which I thought would be the perfect celebration for this achievement. It works! I have 23 eggs and I'm gonna stand here as long as it takes to throw them all at you. Okay, I feel better. I spent a lot of time trying to catch the last couple of fish I needed, and after like 3 years, I finally made Pam her pale ale, completing all the introductory quests. Besides the Lewis's shorts one, cause like, I'm never giving those back. Afterward, I bought a goat named Nine and a white chicken named Duck, cause I needed to ship goat cheese and the small and large white eggs. I also bought 500 hay from Marnie because I just don't feel like growing any myself and I'm rich, so it's fine. I just had 3 dishes left to cook, but I hadn't caught the trout or the sunfish, and my green beans still hadn't grown! Also, I still have no idea what the point of this is. Oh my god. Goodbye! I continued to deforest the entire valley in order to make preserve jars, and the next day I finally caught the sunfish and the rainbow trout, meaning the only dish I missed was the bean hot pot, but I didn't have any beans! Then, impulsively, I purchased Mr. Cheese hat. I was also super shocked to see that my game was 81% complete, so I really don't have much to do before getting to full perfection. I gave Oog Mr. Cheese hat, and I thought he looked pretty dapper. He ran directly toward the fire after I gave it to him though, so I'm not sure if he hated the hat or if he's just a problematic child. Oh my god, Oog, stop. No. I put tappers on the rest of my trees and added some more lights to the farm. Overall, I was really pleased with the past 300-ish days. I completed all my goals and I started a little family. We've got all my fishies and sea urchins. We've got Ooga. Creepy Oog over there. Something is wrong with this kid, I swear. We've got Miso, and of course we have Krobus. Yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you here, and your feedback motivates me to keep making videos. Even when I blow up my favorite part of the farm and don't want to play anymore. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! No hands. Why can I not get this artifact? Please, Lord, just give it to me. It's a skeleton hand. It's so dispensable. Please. Give me a hand. I just need a hand.